You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Doctor Who After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Doctor Who After Show.
I want you to sing it again. That's beautiful. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another Doctor Who wrap-up show. Oh my God, I can't even speak.
Yeah, Jenna Busch, you are all kinds of tired.
Ha!
We just got finished talking about the Crimson Aura.
The Crimson Aura.
And now,
the one I've been waiting all season for.
the one everyone's been waiting all season for.
It's true. It's not just me. I'm not his only fan. So it is season 7, episode 13, Nightmare in Silver, written by Neil Gaiman.
Yes.
Who is also one of the nicest people I have ever interviewed in my entire life.
You interviewed him?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's so cool.
He sounds cool.
He hugs everybody. He's really awesome.
Well, go him.
Yes.
Go Neil Gaiman for being nice and for writing potentially the best episode of the season.
Yes. And also American Gods and the Graveyard book, which you have to read.
Which, I mean, you could just thank him for all this stuff, but then we'd have no time to talk about Nightmare in Silver.
It's true, which I really loved.
Oh my God! Can we get a cheers sound effect for Jenna Busch finally unabashedly loving an episode this season?
I know.
Oh my God!
Just the second half I loved a lot in the first half.
Right.
But I liked the one before this. I liked Crimson Horror a lot. Loved this one.
Tell me why.
It's just the way that he writes. His worlds are so rich. I think there was a depth to this that we haven't seen in a long time. And the interaction between Clara and the Doctor was exactly what I wanted to see.
Boomtown!
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. No, it's back.
Yes, and it made me so happy because, as we've said, even though I have not loved this half of the season, I love Jenna Louise Coleman. I think this is a really interesting character, and I love their chemistry now that it's back.
Now that it's finally back, and we're not all about, can I trust you, what are you? Although we did kind of get to see through these sort of mind battles, which we'll get into in a bit, sort of the depths of how obsessed the Doctor is with her, and it gives us the question, you know, is it obsession? Is it love? Is it need? Is it
lust? Because he's talking about her tight skirt. Just saying.
Yeah, it's just a bit too tight. Meow.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. You know, so it's not like he doesn't notice, which is an interesting shade of the Doctor, because even though, you know, he and Rose were in love ostensibly, it was still a very fatherly, platonic love.
Right.
Because mostly, I think, just because of the age difference between the actors.
Yeah.
But Matt Smith and Jenna Louise Coleman, roughly the same age. They're both in their 20s. They're down to pound.
Of course, he is married.
Yes.
At the moment.
Right. We're not talking about the actors, though. Oh,
no, I mean the River Song. There's that. Considering that the last episode, even though it didn't have anything to do with River Song, the last episode was the Doctor's wife. Even though he was referring to the TARDIS, just say it.
Yeah. No, he is all kinds of married. He's double married. He's double married, and now he's flirting with a sexy young thing, I think.
Okay, I just need to say this. I want Matt Smith to play a villain in something.
Yeah. Well,
in anything.
Did you see the pictures of him in
with the shaved head?
Yeah, in Ryan Gosling is directing a movie called How to Catch a Monster. And he's got a shaved head. He looks creepy.
He totally looks creepy. And after this episode, I buy him as creepy. I thought that was a really fantastic performance. I
think so too. He had like a real challenge this week to play two characters in the course of a scene. I wonder how you feel, Jenna, the Cyberiad, or, you know, the Cyberman version of the Doctor. Was he playing a different character, or was he playing the Doctor made manifest by this cyber stuff?
I think that.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to point out that they all look like Borg. Because if you watch Star Trek...
Oh, yeah, the enhancements look like Borg stuff.
Borg,
totally.
which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I'm just mentioning Borg.
Yeah.
Because I did actually think about that, and it's a very easy parallel to draw, the Borg versus
the Borg
a Cyberman.
are totally inspired by the Cybermen, and it's why there was that comics crossover between TNG and Doctor Who.
So good. If you
Borgs
guys haven't
and
read
Cybermen.
it. Oh my God. If you haven't read this comic, just go out and get it. Just get an issue. You'll love it. But yeah, and I really did actually enjoy that nod, and having seen Star Trek last night made me think of it even more because I actually watched the episode today.
Okay.
So
you're fresh. You're fresh off the high of seeing it.
I am indeed.
Yeah.
So, but I think it was a lot of the darker side of the Doctor. I think it was what would happen if some of his, and I'm using humanity in quotes because he's not human.
Right.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, if it was taken away.
If it was taken away, and I think, we have...
Or if he chose to shed it.
Exactly.
Which is even scarier.
Yeah. And there's so many times that we've come across this. I mean, one of the things that I didn't mention in the last episode when we were talking about the Crimson Horror was that he's called Monster.
Yeah.
And there are moments that are monstrous. And he, he has decimated races.
Yeah.
And it's something that came up again in this episode, taking out the Cybermen by killing 11 billion people. I know that's not the exact quote, but I've decided it's 11 billion.
Well, it's like back in A Good Man Goes to War when they say, the word doctor to them means warrior, which like blew him away because he's supposed to be someone who heals people, who heals planets and races, and more often than not, he is a fighter, if not by brute strength, then by sheer powerful wit.
Yeah, and often doctors have to remove limbs that are dangerous to the entire body.
Sure.
Sorry, it's just a thing from Star Trek again last night. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and the whole thing, that's not a spoiler, by the way.
You're just talking about Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. That is not something that is specifically said in Star Trek Into Darkness, because you wouldn't do that. Why?
Oh, no, it doesn't matter, because you've seen it in the trailers.
I don't remember seeing that in the trailer.
No, but I mean, that's actually not a spoiler at all, what I just said. But it's also something that's been echoed over with sci-fi for like a gazillion years.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Fine. We'll step over this little speed bump.
Yeah. No, it isn't. It actually isn't a spoiler.
We'll get off topic. We'll get off the topic.
Okay.
Then.
Yeah.
So we have our little sidekicks. The kids are with us this week. Who, like, even though she's snotty, I like the girl. I didn't care too much for the little boy.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have much. He didn't have much to do except be afraid.
No.
So that's not his fault.
And I do like the thing. I mean, I know I'm jumping to the end, but like none of you are looking at anything. Like, none of you guys notice this.
Yeah, it's obviously him. He's on the coin. It is the statue.
It's in the waxworks. It's
totally. Warwick Davis with a great performance this week.
I love him,
and I love his character of Porridge, and I hope that we see him again.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he's royalty. I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
And he's supposedly a very big fan of the show and has been for many years.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things about the girl mentioning that and saying, like, are none of you guys paying attention? I think in a way that was something of a nod to fans who spend all this time trying to figure out, like, old references and what this means and what Clara's connection to Rose is, if there in fact is one, and all of that. It's sort of like, because it's like a nice, fun discussion between Doctor Who fans. Like, you didn't get that?
Yeah.
What do you mean you didn't get that? Like, I just thought that was kind of cute. Like, none of you are paying attention?
Yeah. It even leads me back to, like, weird little things that, like, stand out. like all the lights flickering in the first half of the season leading up to Angels Take Manhattan.
Yep.
You know, it's like, did you catch that? How did you not see that?
Yeah.
You know, or the Amelia Pond book in, or Amelia Williams book, sorry.
Yeah.
In Bells of St. John.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually kind of a cute nod to fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And Geek Matt writes, and I was going to come to this, but I'm glad he said it. It was brilliant that the Doctor got the Cybermen, the Cyberiad really, to use all of its collective to figure out how to get mate in 3. That he kept insisting he was going to have checkmate in 3 moves.
Yep.
And he said it was impossible. So to determine how it could be possible, literally had to shut down all the Cybermen because it literally was just one interconnected computer. Yeah. It was such a genius move and such a cool writing move.
Yeah.
And like a really, really cool choice. At the perfect moment, because I was like, how is JLC and her soldiers gonna get out of this one?
Yeah.
With the Cybermen, who the redesign way creepier. They're
So
way more dangerous.
Yep.
I'd always been let down by their appearances in the past. Big stompy things. They're kind of like Dalek light.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this episode they were differentiated more from the Daleks than they ever have been in the past. Even though, you know, in the second season when we first saw them in that 2-parter, it wasn't the same mission as the Daleks. They weren't looking to exterminate. They were looking to turn everyone into them. But it felt similar in that it was kind of like it felt world domination-y.
Yeah.
In this case, this is a war that has gone on for generations.
Yeah.
They've been thought dead forever, and they're constantly upgrading themselves to be able to stay not just current but dominant.
Yeah.
And there's a desperation in that.
Yeah.
That is very, very fascinating.
Yeah.
To a viewer.
Yeah. No, I mean, first of all, the redesign, I totally agree. It's just, I'm probably going to have nightmares.
Like down to the mouth.
Yeah.
The more vacant, I've been doing a lot of clown work, like European clown work in my comedy stuff.
Yeah.
And there's something that's just called a blank face.
Yeah.
And you allow yourself to relax to the point that your eyes lose focus and you let your mouth hang open and be loose. And it's kind of like funny and sad and creepy all at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was the mouth.
Yeah.
And it's just that.
Yeah.
It gives it this kind of like faint innocence, lost.
Yep.
Like you can sense the human that it used to be.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. In fact, it's funny that you say that, because I had actually been thinking about because I apparently get into weird discussions with people, but a discussion about loss and what happens to you after, and what the immediate aftermath is. And very often it's this sort of numb, like, just bring it on because there's nothing left feeling. And that's what that face looks like to me.
Absolutely. Because you lose all connection to your humanity.
Yeah.
And there's nothing left but this blank shell.
Yeah.
Which can move super fast. Which, okay. Anytime that you give a hero or a villain a superpower, and then they don't use it for the rest of the episode or the movie, you always feel a little cheated, because it's sort of like, why didn't they all swarm the castle at once at super speed and just kill everybody?
Yep.
Which they totally could have done.
Yeah.
Fine. You know, you could explain it with, well, you know, one moving could move super fast, and that would only take a certain amount of processing power versus all these other ones moving at the same time. They probably couldn't move that fast and support it, blah, blah, blah. Totally get that. Yeah. But it irked me.
Yeah. Oh, and Soren Chris 137 said, considering we didn't get to see the coin, that was about when we were talking about the Emperor. No, but I mean, they do mention it enough times, like, oh, is this what the Emperor looks like?
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, it seemed like I figured out he was the Emperor before the end of the episode.
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
I did, just because I figured, all right, you're going to have Warwick Davis on. You're not just going to have him as, like, sidekick guy.
Sure. Well, I'd assume just because of that really kind of, like, haunting scene where he talks about, you know, I feel so bad for the person who had to push the button and wipe out these millions
That
of
was
lives.
the other thing that did it.
And I was like, well, he definitely did that.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily connect that he was the Emperor. Climb Harder writes, the Cybermen are creepy here because they can upgrade on the spot. How do you defeat that? And it's such a good point. You know, it's like it's a learning computer. And you know, like the Terminator is like that, where every time you stymie the Terminator, it learns your strategy. You have to work it again. Or in The Incredibles, with that sort of like learning robot that's upgraded every time.
Excellent reference, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Boom, on fire. But it's so true. It's a never ending fight because they're always learning how to beat you. So no wonder they had resorted to just blowing up any planet they were found on.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense because there's no other way to make sure that they die.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. There's so much that's, and again, I know I haven't loved a lot of episodes, and this one I loved so much, but there was just so much tackled in this episode, and so many things that, like I said, that I've just recently had discussions about. I don't know. I loved it. It was so rich, and I think, again, the performances were wonderful. Like Warwick Davis, I will watch him do absolutely anything. He's just
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing. So, you know, I didn't see that he was the Emperor, but he and the sort of demoted captain, they had clearly
Alice was, I believe, her name?
Yeah, they clearly had a past.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was because she knew that he was the Emperor.
Yeah.
But to me, it almost read like they were lovers or
Yeah,
something.
well, no, I definitely saw, I could have seen that too.
Yeah.
Also, his marriage proposal at the end was
so cute.
So cute.
But, like, yeah. Why would, well, I almost thought, and it would have been super creepy.
Yeah.
Unintentionally. When she's like, I want to be the queen of the universe, and then he could be like, sold.
I know. By the way, I have a Christmas ornament that says I'm the queen of the universe.
Well, that does not surprise me in the least bit.
No, it really wouldn't.
It really, 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 really doesn't. The epitome of doesn't surprise me.
Sorry, I just had to bring that up. I actually thought that was a really funny moment when someone asked you to be the queen of the univerce, you say yes.
Well, it's a reference to Ghostbusters.
Yep.
It's like what is that line? When somebody asks you if you're a god, you say yes. Yes. It's the exact same scenario. One fun tidbit this week, the moon set where they first emerge is actually a faithful recreation of the original moon set from the Moon Base, which is from a Cybermen serial, I believe, from 1970.
Oh my God, look at you. I totally did not know that.
I think it might have been the original Cybermen serial.
That's awesome. That is very awesome. So, okay, so one interesting thing is that the TARDIS gives the girl a new phone.
Yes.
Because her phone was taken over.
Yes.
And I know we mentioned this in the last episode, but just in case you weren't with us. This is...
Oh, I totally... now I get what you were saying.
Yeah.
I was kind of following, but now I get what you're saying. And when we get to speculation, hoo boy, that's going to be...
Because, well, basically what I was saying is that... the beginning, the earlier episodes in the season, forget which particular one, but it's the one with the book. And he reconnects with Clara this time. Her password is "Run, you clever boy," and remember with "Are you?" I'm not going to do the whole thing, but but so something in the computer is connected. And
we're going to talk about it after the spoiler wall.
Yeah.
So much to talk about after the spoiler wall.
Yeah.
Let's get back into brass tacks about this episode so we can get behind the spoiler wall.
And the reason I mentioned it is because the TARDIS likes the girl.
Yes.
TARDIS gave her a new phone.
TARDIS likes girl more than she likes Clara. Though she may be warming to Clara.
It's true. And just also because this episode was written by Neil Gaiman, who wrote The Doctor's Wife, which personified the TARDIS.
Exactly.
I thought that was a very interesting little thing to note.
That is interesting, and we'll talk about how interesting later on.
Yes.
I want to talk more about the Doctor's battle here.
Yes. Oh.
With the Cyberiad.
Yeah.
Which, super creepy, and I loved his use of gold in the first place to disable it at first. Yeah. And these mind battles, to me, recall in the Three Doctors.
Yes.
When the third Doctor is fighting Omega in their minds.
Yeah.
Which, you know, since Gaiman is such a longtime fan, it very well could be a reference to that.
Yeah, very, very easily. Yeah, and I think, first of all, I love that he was called Mr. Clever.
Yes.
I just thought that was really cute. I also thought it was very interesting that he was sort of trying to hook Clara with the whole he sort of loves you thing.
Yeah.
That was really, and she's like, yeah, and even if you did think that, you totally wouldn't say it.
Exactly. Well, that whole scene was great because it felt real. There's real heat behind what he's saying.
Yeah. Like, for a moment, you think, well, I totally buy that he actually feels that way about her.
I know. And, like, maybe is he so desperate to get her to believe that it's him that he would actually reveal some of these things. You know, it's put in a situation where he is desperate enough that it just might be the case, but she knows it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, I feel like she's a very slap happy woman.
Yeah.
She's a slapper.
Yeah.
First of all. and she wouldn't be having it on a level anyway of just like, you're not gonna like, even if it was him, don't tell me about this right now.
Yeah.
You big idiot.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Is this the time?
Get
Really?
the machine out of your brain and we can talk later.
Yeah, remove your Borg headpiece.
Yeah, I'm almost dead, you big dummy.
Yeah. Oh, here's a weird little thing. If you tell children to take a nap, maybe we don't do it in the creepy carnival.
Maybe we don't do it in the creepy carnival.
Maybe we send them back to the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, where it's, I don't know, safe.
Right.
Safe. Except then, well, no, because you don't leave children unaccompanied in the TARDIS because they'll screw with shit.
Well, that's true.
They're gonna mess stuff up.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe
gonna
they could just send them to the pool.
Touch everything. Then they drown. You can't leave children unsupervised at a pool. Do you not know the first thing about child rearing?
No, I don't actually.
Well, that's rule 1. Rule 2, you don't leave them alone in a time machine. Rule 3, don't leave them alone in a creep carnival.
Maybe don't take them time traveling.
Basically, the big umbrella rule, don't leave kids alone.
And that is why I have a cat.
Yes. Remind me of your cat's name?
Kunkel.
Kunkel?
Uh-huh. I had nothing to do with that name. It was my ex-husband's fault. I blame him.
Okay. I was expecting a nerd name, and that explains why it's not one.
Right. No, but my rabbit is Emer, which is an Irish goddess.
Cool. All right.
Yes.
Hey, it's Chloe. Right, she wants to know if we're going to talk about the prequel to the finale, He Said, She Said, and we definitely will, but we're going to talk about it behind the spoiler wall at the end of the show. Yeah, because there have been all sorts of spoilery things on the interwebs, which we'll get to, and yeah. I think the biggest thing that this episode contributes to the mythology of the show is the redefinition of the Cybermen, not just in terms of their tactics, but we have a new method to kill them or to knock them out.
Right.
We know now that they're constantly upgrading. Although I read an article this past week which wasn't thrilled with how far they haven't upgraded far enough.
Right.
That if, they were Cybermen back when our conception of technology as a human race now, we never imagined the internet. You look at the Jetsons, they had flying cars and jetpacks, no internet.
Yep.
That's the one thing that they couldn't possibly have imagined existing.
Yeah.
Or that everything would be in a cell phone and that would be so important.
Yeah.
So why do the Cybermen still exist as men at all?
It is interesting. I think mostly because it plays on our fears of I think it's even like when you have somebody who's kidnapped, generally they'll try to appeal to the emotions of the person who kidnapped them. And if you can't get through to somebody emotionally, there's nothing left. And I think that's what makes it terrifying. I mean, even I think that played out in Terminator, in that mythology, because you do have one who not necessarily can feel, but
that's true. Like something with a vacant face will always be that you can't reason with. Will always be more frightening than an inanimate object that you can't reason with.
Right, because you logically, like, you can't help but try to reason with something that seems human. There's that whole idea of the uncanny valley, and that's something I think about a lot with Cybermen. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's a psychological graph about if you see something that looks like, say it's a smiley face, just a regular smiley face, and you're like, oh, I can recognize that. And so it's, you know, and dolls get, you know, a little more realistic and a little more realistic. And at some point, this happens with video games a lot, they get so realistic that they're just slightly off being human, and it freaks you out. And so the response to it drops into this valley and then goes back up again when you actually see a human.
Right.
So there's something about the human form and a human face, but something you can't reason with or you can't quite recognize as human, that is incredibly and measurably terrifying to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I just went deep again.
You just went deep.
I don't know what's happening.
And you didn't even come back with a boob snake.
Oh, that makes me sad that we can't say boob snake that much. But Soaring Chris 137 hashtag Cybermite is futuristic boob snake. So I thank you.
Oh, it totally is.
Mm-hmm. I thank you very much for finding a way to work boob snake into this episode.
Thank you, Soaring Chris. Oh, you
It's
just
wonderful.
you lifted our spirits, and they're already this high.
Because Neil Gaiman.
Cause Neil Gaiman. Boom. On a t-shirt. Anything else with this delightful episode?
No, I'm ready to go behind the spoiler wall.
Okay, it is time for the field of speculation.
We were helping you out there. We were doing the noise.
I thought it was a special segment.
Oh, those predictions. Oh, man. So, prediction time. I want you to repeat what you said earlier so I can remember exactly what I wanted to say in a loud voice.
Wait, which thing did I say?
You mentioned that the TARDIS gave her a phone.
The TARDIS gave the girl a new cell phone because the old cell phone was taken over by the Cybermen.
Okay. So what if the TARDIS is totally involved in the creation of Clara, the spreading out of Clara across all of the different places in time, and has been helping, like that was the voice that she heard, and then gave her the number for Bells of St. John, because we still don't know who gave and did all the stuff.
And considering that we have personified, and it's Neil Gaiman who personified the TARDIS.
Yes.
And this is that episode that links us in. I don't know, that totally would make sense to me.
Absolutely. You know, and we never saw who gave, like, say, Rose and Martha their cell phones that can reach through time. We saw the Doctor gave it to them.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily
he didn't
made
necessarily
specific.
Make them. It might have been from the TARDIS.
It might have been the TARDIS the whole time.
But it is sort of interesting that she, and yes, I said she because
she is.
She. So, but that she feels some sort of connection in some way, whether it's good or bad, to the companion, and how the companion relates to the Doctor. So, you know, if we're saying that whole thing, are you a trick, are you a trap? Like, if she is, and the TARDIS knows.
At the very least, the TARDIS senses.
The TARDIS senses something.
Yes. So next week is the finale. We're going to run down everything that we know.
Yeah. And I do want to quickly say this, because in case you guys haven't seen it, be aware that somebody might be tweeting spoilers, because a bunch of fans got their DVDs early and have seen the finale. And
why were they getting DVDs in the first place?
Well, they ordered it and it showed. I don't know what the glitch was, but many fans have actually seen the finale already. And so what Moffat did was he came out and said, guys, if you keep your mouth shut, I'll release something really cool. I think it was a scene between Tennant and Matt Smith.
Oh my God.
So, but guys, just so you know, somebody is going to be an ass.
So if any of you guys are watching our show,
don't say anything.
Read my lips. Shut up. Stop it. I want cool scenes released, and I don't want to know what's happening.
Exactly.
I speak for a vast majority. So get it together. Okay?
Speaking as somebody who had the end of season 3 of Downton Abbey spoiled before I saw the first episode.
Oh my God, that happened to me too. Awful.
So I don't want to know. I know we've got less than a week.
Yeah.
So don't say anything.
Remember how cool it was when Clara showed, or when Oswin showed up in Asylum of the Daleks?
Yeah.
And we didn't know that she was coming. It's the same scenario.
Yeah.
Are we being played off? Oh my God.
Oh dear.
Oh my God. We have so many things we
have so many things we are.
Oh my God. Okay. He said. She said.
Then keep going.
Okay. Thank God. Okay. He Said, She Said prequel was released this week.
Yes.
And we know now that whoever Clara is revealed in this episode. We knew the name of the Doctor was going to be revealed to Clara specifically. Now we know we're going to find out who Clara is. That mystery will be solved.
Yes.
Or will it only bring about further questions?
Well, I imagine it will. I don't know what we're doing.
We're doing a thing. Doing a bit.
It's a thing. It's not quite Boob Snake, but it's still a thing.
Right. So, like, it's almost impossible to like determine what she is without seeing this episode. We still don't have tons of clues.
Yeah, we really don't.
We have Run You Clever Boy and Remember. We have the different places that she's been. We have Oswin versus Clara in the future, who was a Dalek and may never have been a person.
Right.
We know that the Great Intelligence shows up again this week. Richard E. Grant was seen in the preview. We know they're going to Trenzalore for the first time. And this is going to be a big deal. Yeah. It's the one place that the Doctor was never supposed to go. We saw a gravestone with River Song's name on it.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Which doesn't necessarily mean that this will be the last episode that we see her in.
Right, because of time travel.
Right. It could be...
because of timey-wimey stuff.
What if she's buried on Trenzalore from after she dies in Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead?
Could be.
Whoa!
I know. There's so many things. And I think one of the things that I do actually very much like about this mystery is that it's so open.
Yes.
And there are so many ways to speculate. And whether or not... I mean, I've since read all the speculation about connections to Rose. I still don't know. What I think about that. But it's interesting.
It's not only is it interesting, it colors what we're going to see in the 50th anniversary special.
Exactly. And so I can't disprove it.
And it gives them a darn good reason to interact with the past.
Exactly.
Which you need when you're interacting with your own timeline.
Yeah.
If it's because they need to solve this puzzle.
Right.
Or because Clara's in danger of dying or something like that. It's a perfect reason to cross over.
Yeah. Also, the fact that he seems like he may be falling for Clara in some sort of romantic way. Not 100%, but it does look like they're at least giving us clues towards that.
It's a little saucy.
So, and considering Rose was the last one there was that particular connection with, that may also be a thing that comes up. Yeah. Just throwing stuff out there because obviously, like I said, one of the things that's cool about this is there's so many things we can speculate on and not rule out.
Yes.
So I kind of think that's neat.
Oh my God, we're getting so many tweets. I just want to make sure there aren't any great theories that we're going to miss out on. Danger Shoes hopes that we see Idris again. I hope so too, but I'm not counting on it.
I'm not counting on it either, but I would really love it because that performance was fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, Climb Harder makes a note that the Doctor didn't give Rose a phone. He tweaked her existing phone.
Right.
So I imagine that's what happened with Martha too, which makes this...
even more significant.
Hey, it's Chloe's bracing for Moffat to pull the wool over her eyes because he's super, super sneaky.
I thought you said snaky for a second, and you know where I went with that.
Oh, I know where you went with it. But boob sneaky is almost worse than boob snaky.
It is.
Yeah. And Soren Chris is even more interested in what's happening with Dr. Simeon and the Great Intelligence than with Clara or the name. And I can't completely agree with you, but I am curious as to why they're keeping him around.
Yeah.
And we still have the Shakri, which we haven't touched on at all.
Yeah.
And to me, that's got to be 50th anniversary.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
That's got to be it. Because, like, to have all this other stuff going on and not have mentioned it at all, it's got to be big when they bring it back.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, I am very interested in that too. But I want to know the name. The name. Don't pull them off it.
Here's the danger.
Off it.
The danger in revealing the name is, I know it's a question that's never been answered, but what will it really add to the show to know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm less interested in the actual name as what happens with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and also, maybe you could call him Bob.
Yeah.
Or Kunkel. Like
he said he loves the name Bob.
He does love the name Bob.
I love a good Bob. But like, is it even possible that there will be a name reveal that won't disappoint fans?
Right. So but here's the thing, like even if the name is revealed to Clara, but we find out what the whole thing around it is, that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to call him Bob. I'm not insisting on Bob.
Right.
You could do Kunkel.
And but here's the thing, all of the other Time Lords that have been mentioned, with the exception perhaps of Omega and Romana, all of them have had these in front of them. A V in front of it. They've all had a title.
Yep.
So what makes him so special that he has a name?
Yeah.
In the first place.
Yeah. And the thing is, they may all have names. I mean, it could be just, you know, a lot of cultures have a thing where you have your private name, and that names are power, and that when something is named, that you've given up your power. That's something in many cultures where
it's also touched on in the Shakespeare Code.
It is indeed.
Boom.
Yeah, it's a use name versus your personal name. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Definitely a lot to think about.
Oh yes.
Yes. Oh God.
Is there anything else that's clawing at you?
No, because it's like we didn't learn anything this week.
Yeah.
We know. Here's what we do know that wasn't touched on at all this week is that Clara knows that for some reason there was a photo of her in London instead of Yorkshire,
right?
And she has not shared this with the Doctor,
right?
So that's definitely going to come into play.
It's going to bring the trust stuff back.
Trust stuff back. But I'm hoping we're going to get past it once and for all.
Yeah. Don't lie to your girlfriend.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh my God.
Sorry.
I'm waiting for the kiss and then, sweetie, I'm home. What is this? Fire, fire, fire. Gun everywhere. Going crazy.
Oh, that would be kind of awesome. Actually, there was a funny thing, and I don't know if this is an older thing or not, but I did see some pictures of Alex Kingston, who plays River Song, and Matt Smith doing a scene together where she kept like kneeing him in the balls.
That's funny.
It's pretty funny. Sorry, just saying.
Yeah. Soren Chris says that his favorite Time Lord with a V name is the Narrator from The End of Time, which is a funny joke, but is probably also true.
I kind of want a name that starts with the.
Yeah. You will be the boob snake.
I will be the boob snake?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And I'll be the commentary voice of choice.
Okay.
Yeah. I get to hand out all the names here.
I am fine with that. I accept your name.
Yes.
I accept your name.
Thank you. All right.
On that note.
On that note.
The note that I'm now called the boob snake.
Yes.
All right then. That's going to be great on Twitter.
I'm so sorry.
That's quite
Everyone ignore what I said.
No, it's all good. Okay, so, guys, you can follow AfterBuzz on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. You can follow me at Jenna Busch, B-U-S-C-H, like the beer, not the president. You can find my work on voice.fanhattan.com.
Yes, and you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman, M-A-T-T-L-I-E-B-E-R-M-A-N. You can find me here on AfterBuzz TV on the Mad Men After Show and the Defiance After Show, which, as I said in the last episode, guys, it got so good. It got so good, you guys. You have to be watching this show. It's one of the last pure sci-fi shows on TV. Check out the hour-long interview we did with Grant Bowler yesterday. So nice, so much information. Really, really cool guy. Lots of cool stuff coming up on that. And you can watch sketch comedy on VLYTV.com.
Nice. And guys, thank you so much for staying up with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone overseas who stayed up to watch, everyone in Canada.
Now go to bed, get some sleep, and tell us how you do on your tests.
Yes.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.